Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 336. I was black in this game, and my opponent kicked off with e4. And I thought, well, here's a chance to try out the Sicilian, which I recently covered in my opening basics series. So knight f3 and e6, introducing either the or the Taimanov variations. And the normal way to proceed here, you see, is with d4 going into the open, and that's really the only line I looked at. But it's possible to transpose into other Sicilians from this point. And c3 was played, which has transposed us into the Alpine Sicilian. And now I could continue along Alpine lines that I'm familiar with by playing knight f6. Knight f6 and d5 are the two main moves in the Alpine. The idea being you put this pawn under pressure when the knight is not the queen's knight here can't come out to c3 to defend it because its squares are taken by pawns. So, and I usually play the knight f6 line. In this game, I was thinking it's often a feature of the Taimanov and the Sicilians. When you've already got the pawn on e6, you can play d5 and transpose into a French-like pawn structure. And so that was what I was thinking when I was playing d5. Didn't really recognize the Alpine Sicilian pattern there. I should have. If I had thought of that, I probably would have played knight f6. So anyway, my opponent took the pawn, which is the main move. I took back. And I'm feeling pretty comfortable here. It looks like d4 is the main idea. Let's look at how this would proceed normally in the opening book. d4 and then knight to c6. Just putting pressure on the center pawn. So this is like a Slav defense with the colors reversed, where I've got two pawns here, and and white has this solid line of pawns. So solid way to play for white, but nothing to be afraid of, really. My opponent played h3 here, and after that we're out of book. So let's just look at the notation tab, and it's kind of a slow move, h6. That doesn't really do a whole lot. I guess he didn't want me to pin his knight, but I have other things to worry about. I need to get my pieces out. And you'll see, because he sort of wasted time with that move, that the engine thinks that black is a little better here instead of... So the opening advantage that was white's has shifted to black. Not a big deal, really. I mean, we're still in the range of about even, but white is giving up something when he makes a slow move like that. So the game continues, I think, pretty normally. He pins the knight. I develop my bishop. I want to keep this e-file blocked so I don't get any unexpected checks here and give myself time to castle. So both sides castle. And now bishop takes c6. I think this is probably a mistake. The evaluation drops when he plays this move. He's giving up a good bishop, and it's not clear that that knight was really such a threat that he needed to trade it off. So I have the bishop pair, and this pawn is not. It's not like he's winning a pawn. I'm going to get that pawn back. If we back up a second, the engine prefers, continuing to develop rather than wasting time with this trade. In a way, this is giving up the center right now. I have this pawn in the center, and he doesn't have any. So maybe it wasn't the exchange so much as a combination of that exchange and grabbing the pawn gives black a significant advantage here. And I keep it for a little while. Let's see, he develops bishop g5. But I make a mistake before too long. So bishop a6 is an interesting suggestion by the engine. Yeah, activating my other bishop makes a lot of sense with the tempo on the rook. Good move there. Instead, I decided to block the pin, still keeping some edge. Rook e1 allows white to get his pieces active. h6, kicking the bishop. Bishop drops back. And now bishop e6. I want to alleviate some of the pressure on this file once again. There's ideas of sacrificing on e7 there, or maybe increasing the pressure with queen e2. So blocking that diagonal I think is helpful to my position. He plays knight b to d2, developing his pieces. I go queen c7. So we're just trying to get our pieces out, but queen c7 was a mistake. I think I mentioned this in the video. He has a very good reply here, knight d4. It's kind of a fork. It's hitting my bishop, which I don't really want to trade, and hitting this pawn here. And the threat is actually to take the bishop, and after I take back, to win a pawn with the rook. So how do I defend against this? After knight d4, I just have to move the queen again, I guess. Yeah, queen to d7. And so I've given not only have I given the tempo back to white, but also I've given him a good square for his knight. So this is looking pretty good for white at this point. Queen a4. Interesting way to continue. Yeah, piling up pressure on my weak c-pawn. And I wonder if I can play c5 here. That might be tactically a mistake. Queen takes d7. Yeah, oh yeah, it drops the bishop. So I can't even play c5 there. I've got to defend it with rook a to c8. So that knight d4 move would be a good way to punish my queen c7 move. So queen c7 was just a mistake. Before that, I was doing fine. So a one move mistake, but he failed to take advantage of it. He played knight e5 instead, and so this maintains some slight edge for black. And we continue developing our pieces normally. I finally get the idea to put the rook on an open file. And he plays b4 to shut it down. And now I put some extra defense on this pawn. I was still worried about knight d4, which you can see is a move here, but it's not like it's winning right away. Now it just keeps things in the range of even. But he keeps ignoring this knight b4 idea and instead plays bishop g3. And now I block. I didn't want any discovered attacks on my queen there. Plays a4, and the engine is calling out for the move knight e4 here. I play this move eventually, but not right away. Didn't spot. I might have been thinking about it. The interesting thing about knight e4 is that it blocks the view of the rook onto the pawn. So this onto the knight rather. So the knight on e5 becomes weaker. So. Maybe I was looking at it at some point where the knight could get exchanged off, so maybe not in this exact position. But eventually I had this idea of knight e5. But first I was worried about the pawns on the queen side, so I play this move to slow down the onrush. I'm giving back a pawn, but of course I'm giving up a pawn, but I can always win back one of those weak doubled pawns, so I wasn't worried about being a pawn down. But when he attacked my rook here, it sort of forces me to get the pawn back. That wasn't his best move. He should have played something like knight g4. Okay, rerouting this knight. Yeah, this knight is about to get in trouble here. It's under a lot of pressure. So we'll see this happen shortly. So queen here, rook here. And actually there's kind of an indirect attack on the knight. If this pawn were to move, that knight is in trouble. I've already got two attackers on it, and then these two rooks would be 3 and 4. I just need to clear a few lines here. So he plays c4, and this helps me out. I get to play knight e4 now, which the engine still likes. Like I said, I'm blocking the lines of defense to this knight, leaving it a little more exposed. He took, and I can just take the bishop now. That's good already. I took on d5 first, which is okay. He played rook a to c1. Putting more pressure on the center, but not allowing for the tactics. So this game ended as soon as I took the bishop. He resigned here, and you can see the evaluation. But the problem is that this has unveiled a pin. So this knight is stuck. It can't move. It doesn't have any tempo moves where it can attack the queen or the king. So I can't attack anything of comparable value to the queen. So after, this was not played, but after he takes back, all I have to do is grab this with tempo, and then the knight is hanging. So I'm picking up a whole piece. The other way to play it, which is maybe even stronger after he takes back, is to just play f6 and take advantage of the pin this way. And like I said, the knight has no tempo moves to get out of that pin, so just picking up a piece and keeping the bishops on the board. Also a great way to play. In any case, after knight takes g3, my opponent resigned. So this is how the game ended. Short but interesting, I thought. I just made that one mistake with my queen move. Just shows how even when you have a comfortable position, you still have to be precise and not walk into any forks and other tactics. And nice little tactical bit at the end. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.